All right, if you're receiving this YouTube live stream, I am starting this about 15 minutes early. And so if you're watching this recording later, just go, you can fast forward ahead probably about 15 minutes. All right, if you're receiving this YouTube live stream, I am starting this. Hello and good evening. We'll keep admitting folks as they join. I see my friend Jesse Judd and also iPhone, whoever that is. We'll give it a minute.
How you doing, President?
Good. How are you, sir?
Good to hear your melodious voice again.
Right? It's back.
It's back.
How have you been?
Hey, all right, I think.
Good.
I'll have a better feel for it tonight about 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
How the day went.
Yeah, that's probably where I'll be too, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give it a minute here.
Was it windy up around your area a few minutes ago?
Yeah, sure has been. And it's actually thunder clouds and it looks like it's raining right now, actually, at my house.
Yeah, we had a heck of a windstorm just come up here.
Where are you at?
Pleasant Grove.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, we're just a bit north of you, but
You're in Highland?
Alpine.
Alpine.
Mm-hmm. All part of the same, you're gonna get the same storms, I'm thinking.
Hey, I was just reading a book here about Rome and whatnot. And here's a quote about Charlemagne. He wrote in the 700s, "Love God the Almighty with all of your head and with all your prayers, and whatever pleases him, do that always."
I don't think you can go wrong with that.
No, I think he's pretty close.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that. You better believe it.
Do whatever pleases him.
Yeah. Yep, I couldn't agree more on that front.
So do you live in Alpine?
Yeah. Yep, I do.
You don't know a Rudy Vanderhoeven, do you?
I've heard of him. I haven't met him.
Ludovicus Vanderhoeven.
That's a name.
Yeah, he's Dutch.
Okay. Yep, I've heard the name. Welcome. I see others joining. There's Austin. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Howdy, Austin. Jesse Judd.
How are you, Jesse?
Doing well, thank you.
Good.
Someone's playing hide and seek. I can hear it. I'll put folks on mute for a minute, or you can put yourself on mute, and then we'll have you take yourself off mute here in a bit. See how many I have on the other stream here. Okay, I've got one other on the YouTube live stream. Hello, those that are joining. Thanks for coming along. We'll be starting up here in a bit. Welcome. Had a few more join. We'll just give it a few more minutes for people to, many pile on probably the last few minutes before as is customary. So we'll give that a minute. Hello, friends, as you join, you can see several coming in now. I'm just going to put y'all on mute because it can get a little bit loud and crazy, but welcome tonight. Appreciate you joining. If you're brave enough and are in a position to do so, then turn on your camera. If you're not, then don't. It's okay either way. I know how it can be. Jesse, did I pick on you last time to pray? Maybe you walked off, but if not, I might pick on you tonight.
Yeah, I'd be glad to.
Oh, thanks so much. I'll let you know when you take yourself off mute when you're ready to go, and we'll do it. I see some familiar faces and friends out there, so appreciate you joining tonight. We'll kick off here in just shortly. So all you just joining, welcome. We're just giving it a minute here. We kind of get a push here right as we get close to the hour. So, and the way it works on Zoom is you have to kind of add them in batches. So we'll keep adding you as we go here. And welcome to our friends out on the YouTube stream too. I can see we've got a number out there now. So what I'll do, if you're watching the YouTube, well, whether you're doing this on YouTube or live stream link, or whether you're doing it on the Zoom link, when we get to the point of questions, if you'll submit those through chat, I'll monitor those that way. All right. We're right at the hour, so I expect that we'll get just a flood of folks here. So I'm going to give it just another minute so I can add people. All right. Well, we've got a good crew here between the two streams, so I'm I'm going to kick off. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. Someone there on camera. There you go. Give me a little, just so I know I'm not talking into open space. And welcome this evening. I really appreciate you taking a few minutes. So we've got I think a great agenda program tonight that will take just a few minutes. We never go over the hour mark and probably will be a little bit under tonight. I am President Bunnell. I'm the second counselor in the Utah-Orem Mission Presidency, and it's my pleasure to, as part of my assignment, share the good word about digital missionary work and missionary work in general. So we set this up as a monthly Zoom meeting just to share ideas and thoughts, and we usually have a planned and prepared agenda, and we'll go through that. But before we get started, I thought we might just have an opening prayer, and I've got my friend, Brother Jesse Judd from Pleasant Grove. Would you mind giving us an opening prayer? And then after that, I'll start the recording and we'll kick off.
Certainly. Our Father who art in heaven, we're grateful this day for the opportunity that we have to learn more about this digital training under the able direction of President Bunnell. We're grateful for his consistency and for his persistence in helping to train us. And we ask thee, Father, that we'll be able to have thy spirit with us as we learn these correct principles about sharing the gospel. And we ask thee to bless those who will be presenting, that they will have thy spirit so that they can teach through thy spirit and we can learn through the spirit. And these blessings we ask for in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thanks so much. I really appreciate that. Well, just for me to kind of get a sense of things, maybe in chat, if you find your chat window, if you want to just type in here your name, and if this is your first time or not, that'll help me kind of get a sense of who I'm talking to tonight, because sometimes I'll cover things that I'll repeat, and sometimes it'll be new things. So I'll kind of watch that as we go along here. Tonight, I've got a couple of things that we want to cover, and then of course we can cover any questions that you have. The first thing that I want to talk just a minute about my Road to Hope and Peace. This is a Facebook page that's hosted by the Utah-Orem Mission, and it's a non-denominational page that we've created for just sharing inspirational stories. And these have been powerful. We've had some of these stories have been shared into the tens of thousands of people, and then it directs them back to this site and where they can learn more about messages of hope and peace. And while we encourage a non-denominational participation, we do point them to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But a lot of the stories and messages, the way they're shared, we avoid verbiage that is specific to the church. So I want to talk about that, and we actually have with us Brother Austin Patton tonight. He's going to talk a little bit about his story, and it was posted on my Road to Hope and Peace, and so you'll be able to see that. I can see a number of you are here for the first time. Welcome. So we're going to share his story. I also want to let you know about an event coming up, and I'd love if you would share this with all your friends and neighbors, and I'm going to post this in the chat. But how many of you are familiar with Rudy from the movie Rudy? Yeah, have you ever seen that? One of kind of a popular, yeah, I can see the thumbs up coming from people. So he is we're going to do a podcast with him well, I'll give you the details in a minute. I'll share it with you because I want you to save it. But yeah, I don't know if you knew this or not, but Rudy Rudiger joined the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I was working, I was actually doing a training, and the person that baptized Rudy came up to me and told me about the story. And so I reached out to Rudy Rudiger, and he was willing to share his story, which is pretty amazing. So that's a cliffhanger. That's going to come up here in a minute. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about a letter that was shared with all of our area from our Area 70, talking about a few things about finding the elect in Utah, and I want to share that with you briefly. And then I want to talk a little bit about this digital challenge that you can participate in. This is a way of sharing ideas and light and truth and your stories of hope and inspiration through some digital platforms. So that's our agenda for tonight. So let me do this. I'm going to share my screen. By the way, just means that's awesome. Yeah, I'm just reading some of the. Oh, some are third or fourth time. I've got some a second time, many a first time. Well, welcome to all of you. Really appreciate you joining me tonight. All right, so let me share my screen here, and I'm just going to walk through a few things to introduce a little bit about my road to hope and peace, and then we're going to Austin. Once we've done that, I'll do a brief introduction. I'll have you you'll take the mic, okay? Oh, but before I do any of that, I'm going to record this. All right, we don't want to miss it. Okay, so let me share my screen. All right. Now, if you can see my screen, will you, someone that's on camera, give me a thumbs up so I can, that if you can see it? Okay, very good. Looks like the answer to that is yes. All right, this is my road to hope and peace. And what I'm going to do, I'd like you to go there if you're in a position to do it. Sometimes you won't be because you're going to be on your phone or something. But if you're in a position to paste this into your browser, click on the link, then do so. I just put it into the chat to everyone. This is the My Road to Hope and Peace, as I was mentioning earlier, is a site that is hosted by the Utah Orem Mission. And we share, and there you go. There's the first thing I want to talk about tonight. We share events that we host through this site, and this is really just to draw others unto Christ. That's really what this is all about. And you can also share stories of hope and peace. And tonight, not far down here, is our guest speaker tonight. This is Austin Patton. He's going to share a little bit about his story. And why are we doing this? Well, wanting you to just get some ideas and also maybe some inspiration about ways that your story and your story will be different than Austin's story, and his story is different than other people's story. But what we found is that stories are particularly powerful for
we host
a minute. Will you please put yourself on mute if you happen to make sure that
and you can also share stories of hope and peace.
Oh, okay. There we go. Can you still hear me okay? Okay, good. I was getting some background there, so I wanted to remove it. So before we turn this over to Austin, let me just do this. I'm going to go to this event page. There it is. So let me I'm going to paste this link into the chat. And if you would like, you can go and sign up for this right now. It's the Why I Believe Rudy Rudiger. So he's going to share his story. This is scheduled for Sunday, July 10th at 7 p.m. You won't want to miss it. It will be recorded. So obviously you'll have an opportunity to watch the recorded link, but it's actually for those who are here presenting, it's really powerful when they can have live participants. Not only that, we're doing this so that you can have an opportunity to invite any of your friends, family, people at work. I've done this already. I'm like, hey, do you know Rudy? We've got a podcast coming up through an organization that I'm a part of, and I've sent them this link and invited them to participate. So right now we've got 422 people. We'd love to have that to be 4,000, but we're thrilled to have any of those that are able to participate. So there you go. Why I believe Rudy Rudiger. Now, the next thing I wanted to take just a minute. I don't know if you remember this. I do these most every Sunday morning. I send out a note to everyone on this list, and I'll share different ideas and sometimes a request. And a request that I had submitted some time ago was for individuals to share their story. If they had a unique story of hope and peace and something that they wanted to share, that they do that. And Austin sent this to me, and then I worked with the editors for the My Road to Hope and Peace, and they worked together to get this posted. I thought it was a powerful story, and so I invited Austin to come and share his story. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to stop sharing here, although I can go back to that and share some of your pictures, Austin, if you'd like to. But I'll have you come off mute for just a minute and maybe introduce yourself, and then maybe just talk a little bit about your story and how you've used this to maybe inspire and help others come to Christ, or to be inspired by your experience and story.
Yeah, my name is Austin Patton. I live in Saratoga Springs, and I moved to Utah in 2014 after graduating from college, and eventually met my wife in Salt Lake, and we got married and moved to Saratoga Springs. I work as an analyst for Costa Vida, so it's a fun job. But yeah, my story is kind of unique. It's a little bit different than most of the stories you've probably heard. I have always been really active in my life. Love playing sports, being outside, camping, backpacking, doing all the fun stuff. And I got involved in triathlon about seven or 8 years ago. I have been doing marathons for several years before that. And in 2019, I finished probably the hardest race of my life. Is a St. George half Ironman, long, grueling race, hot weather, lots of hills, just a hard race. I was in the best shape of my life, and that was in May of 2019. Then in June of 2019, I got married. And then 2 months later, in August of 2019, I was out on a normal training ride like I've done over and over before. Later that day, we were planning on driving down to Las Vegas to listen to my brother's farewell talk before he left on his mission. And we never made it. We never left Salt Lake. I was coming down a hill right outside of Big Cottonwood Canyon when I was T-boned by a driver in a Jeep. And when they T-boned me, I was immediately paralyzed from about just below the rib cage down, and suffered some other terrible injuries. I broke 9 ribs and collapsed both lungs in that accident as well. So it was pretty traumatic. I remember everything that happened. I was awake and conscious through all of it. I was the one that called my wife on my phone to at least get a hold of her. Someone else did the talking, but I called her. So it was a really traumatic experience. And I was awake for probably 30 or 40 minutes after I was hurt until they put me into the ambulance and gave me the medication to put me out. And so I'm permanently paralyzed. The doctors say there's pretty much no chance, barring a medical miracle or advancements in medicine, that I'll ever walk again. And so going from a point in my life where I was super independent, super fit, to a point where I needed help to sit up, to roll over, as I always compare myself to an infant. You know, you have a newborn baby and they can't sit up, they can't roll over, they can't really do anything for themselves, right? And so I had to relearn all of these things, all of these tasks that I had always taken for granted. And I spent 4 days in the ICU. And during those 4 days, I was heavily intubated. So I could kind of hear conversations, but don't really know what was going on. Don't remember a whole lot of the physical surroundings of that time. But it left me with a lot of time to ponder and think on things. And to give a little bit more background on before all of this happened, I was doing everything that I felt like I should be doing. I was going to the temple, I was studying the scriptures, I was listening to conference talks on my commute. I was trying to fulfill my calling. Like I said, I was dating and getting engaged and working, to get married and all that stuff. I was having a good time at work. Like everything seemed to be going well, except for one thing. And I was struggling to feel like God knew who I was and that he loved me. And with the injury, you have really two options. It's turn to God or turn away from God. And during those 4 days that I was intubated, I was able to really spend some time meditating and praying and doing those things just in my consciousness, because I couldn't physically actually kneel down or read the scriptures or do anything like that. And it was during that time that I came to the realization that what God needed me to do on this earth, he needed me to do in a wheelchair. And I could not fulfill what he needs me to do if I were on two legs. So from that point forward, it's been a constant focus of mine to try and bring people closer to him. Now, do I wish I could still walk? Absolutely. And there are terrible days. I deal with PTSD and depression and days that I don't want to get out of bed. I spent a lot of time in physical therapy and still deal with a ton of pain and side effects due to the injuries that I sustained, both physically and mentally. But the one thing that I am always able to fall back on is the experiences that I had in the hospital about God really letting me know that he needs me here now. He needs me in this wheelchair. And knowing that helped me to realize that he does actually know who I am. He's aware of what I'm going through and he loves me for it. Something that I always tell people is Jesus Christ knows you. He lived for you. He died for you. He was resurrected for you and he lives for you today. All of those things are so important to know. And it was through this experience that I came to actually really understand and believe it, not just, think, oh yeah, that's a nice concept. On the mission, those of you that have served missions, you probably remember one of the first things you teach is we are God's children. And I was no different. I taught that all the time, but actually believing it and knowing it is a whole different thing. And I always felt like I believed it, but I couldn't say that I knew it. And through this experience, I'm able to say that I know it and I'm grateful for it. I couldn't be more grateful for Jesus Christ and for his atonement, because now I know that my son, who will never see me walk on this earth, will in a later day see me walk. And we'll be able to run and we'll be able to play baseball, hopefully baseball, and be able to have lots of fun together. And it will be without the constraints of a wheelchair. It'll be without the pain that I suffer now. And it's just awesome to know that. And that perspective and that knowledge gives so much hope to people in similar situations. And, we all have something hard in our lives. Maybe it's going through something traumatic like an injury or a cancer diagnosis or something very different. But ultimately, it does always come back to Jesus Christ knows who you are. He loves you. He died for you. He was resurrected for you, and he lives for you today. And with that knowledge, it really changes the entire outlook and perspective that we can have. And so now I still race. I got back into racing. I've done 2 triathlons since my injuries nearly 3 years ago, one shorter distance and one kind of middle distance. and I've done 100-mile bike rides since then. And I'm always looking to do more. But the whole purpose of me doing these now is not just physical development. It's how can I show God's grace? How can I show people the power of God? And how can I help people come to know God as I know him and feel of his grace as I have felt it? And so I share it on social media through my Instagram page, through my Facebook and things like that. Just little insights here and there that I've had about the plan of salvation or about life. Sometimes it's as corny as a Star Wars analogy, and other times it's much more related to my personal situation in the wheelchair and things like that. Just trying to give little insights here and there that I've noticed. So it's just been a life-changing experience in many ways. But again, it always comes back to I'm so grateful that I have a knowledge of the atonement of Jesus Christ and the plan of salvation, because without it, I would be lost. So I'll say that in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And thanks for coming on and sharing your story tonight. And really I guess what I wanted to emphasize, and by the way, let me share my screen here just because he had some cool pictures that I'll share if that's okay.
Yeah.
I guess they're out on the internet now, so there's no getting away from it. Here we go. Yeah, right here. So you can come out here, and this is you, and it looks like a brand new little baby right there. Awesome.
Yeah. So that was taken in March. So we just had our first son born in March.
Okay. He's adorable.
Thank you.
And this is you in the hospital, looks like.
Yeah. So that was in the ICU. Who knows when? But yeah, I had my hands strapped to the side of the hospital bed so that I couldn't pull the tubes out of my mouth or the tubes out of my chest. So.
What are you doing here?
So this is hand cycling. This is how I bike now. It's all hand powered, but still have gears and a chain just like you do on your bicycle. I'm in a reclined position instead of sitting up. And so I just pedal with my hands. And this is at the end of a 63-mile ride. We call it a metric century, 100 kilometers. And this was this Sinclair gas station. Many of you have probably seen pictures of this station. This was the gas station that my great-grandfather owned, actually, down in Alberta, Utah, just about 30 miles south of Saratoga Springs on Redwood Road. So
I know it down there, lots of cows.
Yep. Just out on a walk. I guess a roll. But
you were on a roll that day.
Yes.
Wow. Thanks so much, Austin, and for taking a few minutes to share your story and your testimony. And for the rest of us, this is an example of stories that we can share. You may want to share his story. You can go out. One of the neat things here on Facebook, you come out to this page, is you can share this by clicking on this share button. You can share with friends. You can share to your feed, or you can even copy and paste this address and put it in an email and forward it that way if you don't have Facebook. So there are lots of ways that you could share this. And not just that, something that's really helpful is if you make a comment, come and make a comment. Or another thing you can do is you can like it or you can love it. And that's one of the things that kind of helps share this message even further. There are many other stories out here that you can look at, and I do want to issue an invitation. If you have a story that you would like to share, and it doesn't have to be like this, there are lots of different types of stories. Last month we had Cade Cooper came and talked about his triumph over addiction and what he did, a little bit about his story that's out here, and we've had others that have just talked about finding peace in a tumultuous world, and others who escaped a bear attack. I mean, there's all kinds of different ways that you could share your story, and obviously, it's not as if the only way you need to do that is on this Facebook page. You can share it in any of the ways that you may want to. You can share it, email, text, all those things, and are powerful ways to share your message. So with that, let me just see, were there any questions? I want to make sure that at this point, if I saw a few coming in on the Rudy thing, I just want to see if you had any questions, you want to submit those through chat, and I will answer those. Yeah, so the event with Rudiger is on July 10th at 7 p.m. And if you come out, I actually put the link up here in the chat right here. You can click on that and go out, and then you can, that will take you to this page right here. Now, a link won't be available for this until that day, until later that night. So just be aware of that, okay? Any other questions? I'll watch them here if you got them. Okay. I wanted to take just a minute and share with you, because we probably got a mix of people here, ward missionaries, leaders, maybe many of you are serving as maybe a ward mission leader or a digital missionary. One of the things that I wanted to share is just a few things about the mission. Yeah, and maybe you don't hear about the mission that often. So I thought I'd take just a minute and share with you. We have a goal this year of 1,000 baptisms in the mission. As of last month, we were at 303. We're approaching 400 right now. Last year, we were at around 221 at the same time. So we're a little bit ahead of pace. And we have a strong Latino and Hispanic involvement that way. So that's what's happening. There's always good things happening in the mission, and everything you do and little effort you apply is helpful and a blessing to us. We have about 160, between 160 and 170 missionaries. We've had as many as 300, but right now we've got, and then we have a number of MLS missionaries, full-time missionaries that are retired, and in this case you can live at home. If you know of anyone, or you yourself have thought about serving a mission, you can always reach out to your bishop or stake president. They'll tell you all about how that can happen. But we've got we're approaching I think 20 couples serving in our mission. The Utah-Orem mission is the highest baptizing English-speaking mission in the world. We have a lot of work to do, and so we appreciate all your efforts, all that you're involved in. I wanted to just share with you, you know, when you look at these are probably hard to see, but just so you're aware, we go through these stats with all your stake presidents, and we talk about new people being taught. We share people who attend sacrament meeting, people with a baptismal date, and people baptized and confirmed. Pretty much all of the, we're going up and to the right in pretty much every area. So there's a lot of good things happening in the mission. But to hit our goal of 1,000, we're probably going to have to do a bit more. So we appreciate your efforts. And I'm going to talk about a few things you can do and encourage to happen within your wards. And you can even do, you know, personally yourself, that will make a difference. I wanted to just go through this quickly. This in April 15th, tax day of this year, we had a revised letter that came from the Utah Area 70, our area presidency here for the Utah area. And they had a few things that they encouraged. Now, this one doesn't much apply to you, but we, just so that you're aware, we ask every stake president to meet with us as a mission presidency once a month, and we're at right at 100 stakes. So we stay busy meeting with different stake presidents. But just so that you're aware, that's just for us to stay in touch with the stakes and to participate with them. The second thing that they're emphasizing around finding the elect in Utah are using these reports. Now, you may not be aware of these, so I want you to just take note. It's possible, and you as ward mission leaders and ward missionaries you may want to see these reports. You may ask for them. You may not even know that you could, but you can. That's part of your purview. In fact, in the handbook, they want the full-time missionaries to have this, and they may reach out to you to help, but they have an unbaptized children of record report, a part member family report, recent converts, new move-ins, and non-participating adults. So these are, some of these are pretty sensitive, so you'll have to take note of that. But these are the different types of reports and or information that can be helpful for you as you're organizing and managing missionary work. Particularly those of you who participate, and I see some of you are Elders Quorum presidents, secretaries, and Relief Society presidents, secretaries. You really hold the keys for this work. There's been a shift there in asking that you, along with youth leaders of the 18-year-old class, participate regularly. And sometimes you wonder what you can do in that weekly huddle that I'll talk about in a minute. Well, this is one of those things. You can look at these different reports and or ask for that information or help even secure that information yourself. And then these names should be reviewed during the weekly ward missionary coordination meeting. See that? And then ward and full-time missionaries seek guidance from local leaders as they work to contact every name and look for opportunities to strengthen members and find others not of our faith to teach. I wanted you to know that we see miracles every single month from this approach. Oftentimes, it might be a child that's 9 or 10 or maybe 11 or 12. They're in that age range. And by doing that outreach, we also are able to contact and interact with their parents, uncles, aunts. You really never know the way that the Lord is working, but I want to testify of this, that he is always preparing things. And for those of us who will use these mechanisms, he'll guide those into our path. I want to testify of that. I know that it's true. I've seen it. I hear about it every week. I wish that I could, maybe I will include in my weekly broadcast on Sunday morning, some of these stories, because sometimes you don't hear it. You don't recognize the miracles that are happening and all the neat things that are occurring. I want to share just a quick story about new move-ins. I have a twin brother. He's serving as an Elders Quorum president in Highland, and some neighbors moved into a rental house across the street. And my brother had heard that they were moving in, and so he called a bunch of people to just show up there. And they were astounded. They're like, who are all these people? I'm trying to understand why I've got 20, 30 people standing on my sidewalk. Well, they were able to help them move in, get unpacked. And long story short, they were so impressed with that when they accepted an invitation to meet with the missionaries because they wanted to learn more. And they've been baptized. And I'm actually reaching out to him. I may actually have them. I'm checking to see if I can have them come to our July meeting here and have them share their story. So that's a little cliffhanger. I'm going to try and pull that off. But these things are happening all the time. They're from North Carolina. He came out here. He's a physician. He and his wife and his daughter. These things are happening, and they're happening a lot. Out in Saratoga, I was talking to a stake president a few months ago. They were teaching 11 families in one stake. So sometimes here in Utah, maybe we're not aware of all the things that are happening and how the Lord's working in his work. So I like to share these things. And that's one of the purposes for this call, actually, is to make you aware that good things are happening and you're all a part of it. If you have questions as we go ahead and submit them through, but otherwise I'm going to keep moving. This is something that's a little bit different this year. Oftentimes we set a baptismal goal by ward. You may not know this, or maybe you do. They set a baptismal goal, and usually it's for the year. But one change that they've asked for here is that every ward or branch sets a specific monthly goal as to the number of non-members they will invite and arrange to be taught by local missionaries each month and the number of convert baptisms. I want to testify of the power of this. If you, in your meetings with your presidency or with your in your ward councils, if you will prayerfully offer your thoughts about a potential goal, what you'll see is that those things can come to pass, and they do come to pass. The thing about doing it once a year is there's sometimes a scramble in November or December, but what we want to do is spread this out over the year. Okay. And there's just something powerful about doing that. This is something else that I want to invite you to do if you haven't done it. And even if you have, I know that there's much that you can do to help here in this space. And that is, in addition to investigator lessons, full-time missionaries teach 3 or more 15-minute to 20-minute lessons per day to members. We want the missionaries to be in your homes, and we want them to take a time to teach this. And I will tell you, we have had more success from this. And so I encourage you to invite those in your ward councils, those with whom you serve, or you yourself, to reach out to the missionaries. If you don't know how to contact them, just reach out to me and I will make sure that I put you in touch with them. Now, typically in every stake, there's a high council member over ward missionary, over missionary work for the stake. They certainly meet with the missionaries on a regular basis, so they can put you in touch with them. But if you're not sure who that is, if I can help you in any way, let me know. What they'll do is they share a message on love, share, and invite. They just teach you ways to to share, to invite others to participate in whatever way you're inspired to do it. One last one, you're hanging in there. Area 70 stake presidents, bishops, and local leaders invite, energize, and engage members to use their own personal social media accounts. That's something that I've been doing to save the best for last. There are ways that we can do this. They have 3 suggestions here. Make new friends and broaden their connections with those not of our faith. I hope that if you have neighbors that you haven't met, that you go and just knock on their door. We moved here in this new location about 1.5 years ago, and we went around and knocked on the doors of all the people that lived around us just to get to know people. And it was really interesting because one of the people said, we've lived here for over 15 years and no one has ever come and introduced themselves in 15 years. Sometimes I think we just figure that people know us, but this family was not, they didn't attend the ward, so they didn't meet them through those means. And now we become friends, and we've had other opportunities to get together. So very simple things, right? Interact often with the local missionaries' Facebook page by liking missionary posts, commenting, and sharing posts with friends. That's certainly something you can do at the My Road to Hope and Peace that I've already shared. If you go into the chat, you'll find a link to it. So that's a way that you can do it. And we also have some other pages that our missionaries use and oversee, and I'll include those here in just a minute. And then finally, this is one I really hope you'll take us up on. If I haven't lost everyone here, there we go. It blipped on me for a minute. Hopefully I didn't lose you. But this third one is invite local missionaries to help members review their lists of friends on social media and seek inspiration as to which might be the most blessed by a message or post online. So you can work with the missionaries. You may or may not know this, but every missionary that comes into our mission and into most missions, my daughter's serving in the Ventura mission, California, and she was also invited and asked to do this. They all create an Instagram account and a Facebook page, and they ask them to share messages of hope and peace. And so this is something that we're really encouraging members to do, and particularly to work with children and with their youth, I should say, not children, and carefully work together on creating accounts on these platforms. There are concerns that parents have about them using them. So my suggestion would be create one family account and share that together. And that way there can be good oversight, and you can make sure you're protecting children from any messages from the outside. And then it says these foregoing activities that we just talked about should be included as regular discussion items on ward and stake missionary council agendas, ward council, ward youth council, ward missionary coordination, stake missionary coordination meetings, and even in your relief site and elders quorum presidency meetings and quorum meetings. And so hopefully this was helpful for you. I'm actually, when I send out a link with the the link to this recording for this training that we did tonight, I'm going to include a link to this letter. So you'll have that available to you. The other thing that I wanted to make you aware of is if you have not joined if you have not joined the email list where I send out reminders and all this, you can come out to, and I'm actually going to put this in I'm going to paste this right now so you'll have it. If you click on this link, the utahdigitalmissionaries.com/digital challenge, and scroll to the bottom, can you see this form right here? Give me a thumbs up just so I know that I still got you. Yeah. Okay. So this right here, you can enter your name, email, phone if you'd like to, and your calling, and then submit this, and then you'll be added to the list. And the good news about this is if you do it through this technology, if your calling changes or if you just cannot stomach another email from me, then you can actually unsubscribe from the list automatically and be taken off. Okay. So that's something that you can do.
Does this get us access to the weekly broadcast?
It does.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely it does. Thanks for your question, by the way. Now, the last thing I'm going to cover very quickly here tonight, and then I'll take any questions and we'll wrap up if we need to. Yeah, the question was, could you send us the Finding the Elect in Utah? Yeah, it will be, I will attach it to the email that goes out on this recording. Probably will come out tomorrow sometime. Another thing that we've created here in the mission just for fun is this Utah Digital Challenge. And I've talked about this before, but this big red link right here, if you click on it, it allows you to sign in if you'd like to and participate in this challenge. And it's got some simple activities that you can do. And it actually has a little video, each one of these. Like one of the first ones is after you've come to, selected your stake, you can come here and select your stake, and you can select your ward just so we know who you are. And then you can follow the Road to Hope and Peace Facebook page, and you get some points for that. We just it's a way to kind of track what kind of activities going on. And when you do, you get 10 points, you select that. And then you can invite others to like and follow my Road to Hope and Peace. And there's a little video that shows you how to do that. If you click on this link, it just takes you over to a really brief video in 36 seconds. I'm going to show you how to invite your friends to follow the Facebook page, The Road to Hope and Peace. So once you're here, I'm not going to put you through that, but you can go out there and see it on your own. And then also connect with your friends or neighbors. This is something that we found to be quite powerful. I've heard several stories here where individuals have been posting on their Facebook page, and they go and connect with their neighbors. If you don't know who your neighbor is, do a little bit of stalking in a good way. Look at their email box and see what their name is. That email. Well, no, let me back up. It's their actual snail mail box. It's that box in the front of the house. It's got the name on the side. Anyway, that's how some people have found their neighbors. They go and find them on Facebook, and then you can connect with them on Instagram or Facebook. And I'll show you how to do that. And then connect with a friend or full-time missionaries serving from your ward. As I mentioned earlier, all missionaries are encouraged to create their own Facebook page or account, and their own Instagram account. I have a daughter serving right now on a mission. I don't know how many of you have children that are serving on missions, but it really means a lot if you connect with them and just give them encouragement, if nothing else. Just go and connect with them. And if you have, and this doesn't have to be people in your ward, if it's nieces, nephews, uncles, aunts, whomever you might have, if you would go and find them on Facebook, and I show you how to do that, you can click on this little link right here, and I'll show you how to do that. And what you can do is, once you've connected with them, an invitation that I give you is to ask them if you can help them in any way, right? And you don't be surprised, okay, if they come back and say, absolutely, I can help you. And so we want to make, or absolutely would enjoy to like to have your help. So that's something that you can do. And then that's it. Then there's some other things that will kind of walk you through. So that's a way to be to start on the path of doing some digital missionary work. There's a lot of other things that that can be done, and I actually include those in my weekly email that I send out every week. I give you a little tip or an invitation. I really appreciate many of you followed up on the invitation to do a Google review on your local chapel. I don't know if you knew that you could do that, but as it turns out, we have a lot of people moving here from other places, and it's powerful. It's powerful when they come and see 5,000 reviews on a chapel, and they're like, this seems like it might be a good place for me to come and check out. And if you're curious about how to do that, I'm still sharing my screen. If you go to share.churchofjesuschrist.org, I'm actually going to put it right in the text right now, so you've got it. I know I've mentioned this before, but I'll do it again. So if you go to share, let me come back here, and you can try that right now. It's got some great, it talks about some upcoming events, and then it has these ideas, and I've been sharing some of these with you, but one of them is review your local church. You see that right there? And if you click on it, now in my case, it says, I think it tells me, oh yeah, you have to log in type of thing. And then once I log in, it says you've already reviewed your church, so I can't do it again. But if you haven't done that, then I invite you to do it. You can invite a friend to come and help, and they talk to you. There's some ideas there. I really like this one. Sign up for share light messages. So these come into your email box, and then you can share them if you prefer to do it that way. And then one that invitation I made a few weeks ago was share the Book of Mormon. And there's never been a more powerful time on all the history of the earth to be able to share this book. The most correct of all books is on the earth, as the prophet Joseph had indicated. And you can actually share this, and individuals that you may know at work or friends or others can actually just download the app. It's just a simple app that's kind of streamlined just for reading the Book of Mormon. So I'm going to invite you to go out and take a look at this. And with that, I just want to testify of the validity of this work, the truth of it, and how I'm in a position to see the miracles that happen every day. And I know that the Lord is always preparing individuals around us, anyone that can come within our sphere of influence. He's preparing them in special ways. And if we open our mouth in whatever simple ways we feel that we can do it, he will guide us to the things that we can say that will make a difference. With that concludes what I had on the agenda tonight. So what I'm going to do is just open this up for a minute. Let me read any questions that I've had thus far or comments. Okay, it says, oh, so Brother Judd, you had contacted Sister Davis. She said you folks are no longer doing firesides and social media. Personally, you'll be glad to train local staff, local missionaries. How do we do this? Well, yeah, I was not aware of that, but certainly I can tell you that if you would like to have someone come and train or participate in your stake and do a training or a fireside, we can work together to make that happen. So you let me know, you know how to chase me down, and we could arrange something. You'll want to talk to, I would encourage you, if we're going to do that, that we do it potentially at a stake level so that we could cover get as broad a coverage as possible. How do you get to the recording? Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to share, let me share my screen real fast again. I'm going to show you how to get to all the recordings. We do these every month. Let me just share this.
Every month, same day and time?
No, are you seeing my screen right now?
I am.
Okay. So if you go out to Utah Digital Missionaries, it says right here, new training schedule for 2022 and recordings. That link right there, can you see it? If you click on that, it opens this document and everyone has access to it. And over on this right-hand side, this column, these are all the recordings that we've done up until now. and then to, whoops, that actually takes you there. Didn't want to do that. So you can see the recordings there. You can also see when the next ones are planned. So you see we've got a number planned through the end of the year. I did have them set for every couple of weeks, but I've actually taken it down to once a month. Just found that to be, that was some feedback that I'd received, but that's how you get to the recording, and not only the recording for this, but past recordings. Did that answer it for you? Great. Okay. What other questions do you have that I can answer before we wrap up tonight?
Are you putting in the link that we can submit so we get access to your weekly broadcast? And then I think there was a huddle slide where we haven't gotten off the ground yet. So I'd love for you to share that huddle slide, who should be attending, what we should be discussing. I mean, just a brief overview. I can screenshot it, go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me do this just so that you've got it immediately. When they were talking about, this is the coordination meeting, the weekly meeting, and it shows those that are to participate. So the elders quorum presidency member, the ward mission leader, the ward. Now in Utah, you're not going to get the full-time missionaries at the weekly huddle that we just, we've got 160 missionaries in 100 states, so that's not going to happen. We're just under 1,000 wards, I think, right now. And then you have the priest quorum assistant, the young women class presidency, and the Relief Society presidency member, and the elders quorum presidency member. That makes up those that should participate in that weekly huddle. But I will make this available. A few of these slides on the email that I send out with the recording link. And you had asked, how do you get on that list? Well, if you go out to that utahdigitalmissionaries.com and just scroll down, it right here is where you do it. And if you'd like, I'm going to put it right in the chat right now, so you can go out and just grab it right now. You can just click on it. Go
Awesome.
enter it.
Thanks so much.
Go do it right now. And that way we'll make sure I don't lose you.
I will.
Oh wait, you know what? That just went to Jesse Judd. I need it to go to everyone. Jesse, you're getting all my messages. Sorry about that. All right, everyone should see that now, and then just scroll down and you can grab it that way. Anyone else, if you have a question, you can come off mute and ask it, just as I think it was Amy did, or you can send it through chat, whichever way. We got just a couple minutes left here. Any other questions, things that I can do to help you? All right. Well, listen, you know how to track me down. Any of these email messages that go out to you from me, you can reply directly to those and get to me. I just want to, I want to thank Austin Patton for his sharing his testimony, his experience tonight. I want to thank each one of you for what you do, everything that you do. And I just want to say that it's no accident that you're serving right now in the way that you are. And I just want you to know that every little thing you do is appreciated and it brings blessings. So thank you for that. I know that this is a true work. I'm grateful to be a part of it. I love it. We've been serving now for almost exactly 1 year. And it's just been an absolute delight to see how the Lord is working here in this area. Please let me help out in any way that I can. I'm happy to come to stakes and do trainings. We can walk through this digital challenge together if you'd like. We share any of these other types of resources and things that might be helpful to you. And so I offer that to you, and just reach out to me and let me know how I might be able to help. With that, let me see, would someone be willing to give a closing prayer? If so, oh, I just want to read a few things. Yes, thank you, Austin. Austin, that was an amazing testimony and life story. So thank you for sharing that. Looking forward to the weekly broadcast. You got it, Amy. You got it. You know what? I'm going to say the prayer here. I don't want to put anyone on the spot here. So let me do this. I'm just going to stop the recording, stop the share. I'll stop the recording. Bear with me. All right. I'm going to close with prayer. Okay. Our kind Father in heaven, we're indeed grateful to have met this evening, and we're thankful for thy hand in this work. We're grateful for each one of these, all of these individuals and all of us that are part of this work, and for taking of their time and your time to be here with us. We're thankful, Father, for the opportunities we have to be a light and to represent and take on the name of Jesus Christ, thy Son, and set an example. And these things we humbly pray and ask a blessing to be with all those that serve, the missionaries in the field, that they can be blessed and watched over and protected, that all those that are within the sound of my voice that need a blessing or help or guidance in any way, that they can receive it through thy Spirit, we ask in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you so much, everyone. I look forward to seeing you next month and maybe hearing from you even sooner.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.